All right. So, hello, everybody. Before we start, Jim, make sure that I'm on. Did you get my message?
Yeah, I got your message.
Okay. Make sure that I'm live because I haven't really done this much before on my
Yeah,
page.
you're live. You're definitely live.
Okay. So, how is everybody doing? Is PR52? I am here with Philly Jim, and I have not done one of these in a long time. I think the last time I did it was last year, so I'm pretty big novice to it, and this is the second version of the Power Hour. Usually, I don't stream these podcasts or these Power Hours, but because of the fact that you know it's such a huge debate, and this is such a clash of titans
Yep.
and snowball throwers, I decided
We'll do it live. Fuck it.
yeah, so we are going to do it live because we're just
It's a huge debate.
both of us are so passionate about this subject, and because we are debating Jalen Hurts, we decided that at the end of this, or at any time during this Power Hour, during this debate, we will have you guys vote on who you think won, and you can do it because you hate me, or you like him, or you like Jalen Hurts, or you hate Jalen Hurts, whatever. We want you to vote to see who's going to win because
I love democracy. I love the republic.
yes, because I love democracy. So, before we begin, the reason why this whole thing started, and I want to we'll get to this in a second. I'll stop blabbering on about it. I do want to appreciate Jim here because Jim actually did his due diligence and called me out. I think we were talking about Justin Herbert and Carson Wentz, and then the whole subject kind of wheelbarrowed all the way to talking about Jalen Hurts, and he actually called me out. And you made a stream where you were reviewing the Philly or the RPF.
Yeah, that was the first time I saw the second part of it. It just brought back all the memories of that situation, which I know you remember too.
Yeah. But what I can appreciate is the fact that you actually were like, hey, he's actually looking for a debate, and he isn't trying to take things personally, and I did appreciate that you said that. So we decided to get together and do this Power Hour, which is going to be like more of a power 45 to 50 minutes about Jalen Hurts. And before we get to what we're going to talk about here, I want to first of all say like my main standpoint, because things were said and standpoints were discussed. To this point right now, do I think that Jalen Hurts should be the quarterback for like the long-term future? No. Like,
Okay.
do I think that we should get rid of Jalen Hurts right now? No, I don't.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean that I thought that there were other options, But I want you to begin, because I did debate class in high school. I did speech.
Okay.
I want you, because we're gonna do a format of like opening statement, first statement, rebuttal.
So you want me to have the opening statement?
I want you to have the opening statement.
Okay.
While I plug in
I think that Philadelphia Eagles fans who constantly nitpick and bash Jalen Hurts, they need to educate themselves. And the other thing about it is they're very hypocritical, because based off of their first season, Carson Wentz and Jalen Hurts, and Carson's back in the division, so those comparisons are going to keep getting brought up. Carson Wentz got a real chance to prove himself, and even when he was clearly on the decline, there were still excuses for him to, give him a chance. It's Doug Peterson's play calling. It's Frank Reich's not here. It's Mike Groh. It's, there's no receivers, all this other stuff. Yet Jalen Hurts is going in. This was his first year as a starting quarterback, and he played very well. The numbers show that he has a lot of room to grow as far as with his accuracy and all those type of things. But you know what? The guy had several plays that got called back because of wide receivers stepping out of bounds, dropping passes, offensive pass interference. How many touchdowns did he lose because of stuff like that? Yet he still had a good season, still had a lot of offensive production, his ability to run the ball too. So I feel like him being 23 years old, people are trying to close the book on him and say, yes, this is what Jalen Hurts is. He can't be anything more than what we saw from him in his first season as a starter. It's done because he's not Patrick Mahomes or Justin Herbert or Joe Burrow, these young quarterbacks lighting up the world. That means he can't make it in the NFL. That's what people say. That's what people believe. And I just think that's absolutely insane.
And I would say to respond to the touchdown one, I think the answer is 5. I think the answer is 5. So that is a lot. 5 is no low laughing manner. So not to respond, but to give my personal opening statement about Jalen Hurts, and my personal feeling is going into the season, right? I was someone who said to myself, Howie Roseman was super neglectful with his draft choices, and he should not be allowed to choose a quarterback. He should not be allowed to choose another one, at least until 2022. I didn't think that he should have been allowed to choose another one, because my personal opinion is that he didn't have to draft Jalen Hurts in the first place. He didn't have to draft him where he ended up drafting him. And it is my personal opinion, Carson Wentz's mental state, or how he thinks or how he plays the game, and his how he mentally prepares himself for games. Whether you think it's a detriment to him or what, it was something that absolutely killed the way he played. So we could have avoided that if we hadn't drafted Jalen Hurts, but we did it anyway. Okay, and I'm someone who says that there were some impressive moments of Jalen Hurts from in 2020. There were some very impressive moments. He played some very impressive games as a rookie. And I do want to respond to what you said about Eagles fans and Carson Wentz. Yeah, I will say that I was one of those people who gave Carson Wentz way too many excuses. I was one of those people who, during 2019, blamed the receivers, blamed the line, blamed the coaching, blamed the offensive coordinator. I was someone who did that. Mm-hmm. And I don't think the receivers were good. I don't think the offensive coordinator was good. I don't think the head coach was good either. But I would say that at around the time of that Seahawks game, right? After that Seahawks game, I was like, dang, like Carson Wentz might not be good. He might not be good. And that is something that I kind of rolled with. When it comes to Jalen Hurts in 2021, I personally believe that his high point wasn't even last season. His high point was 2020 against the Cardinals. Okay, I feel like that was his ceiling, despite the fact that we didn't win the game. My issues with Jalen Hurts are this, and some of these things can be fixed, and some of these things I don't think can be fixed. The thing that I think can be fixed, and the thing I don't really care about, is his arm strength. I don't care about that. That's kind of irrelevant to me. Sure, his deep throw accuracy isn't that great, but my biggest worry with Jalen Hurts is his inability to read a defense. And yes, Carson Wentz struggled with that too. Carson Wentz was negligent with the way he passed the ball. And in certain areas, Jalen Hurts, he does well with his legs. He can scramble around. He's a wild card in that sense. But once the team decided, okay, we're going to run the football more, that's when Jalen Hurts succeeded the most. But here's the thing. There are going to be games where the running game gets stopped, and he's going to have to do something about that. And I would say that Tampa Bay game was not good. Granted, Tampa Bay has a good defense. Granted, it was not just Jalen Hurts' fault, but there were aspects of that game that we had seen earlier in the season in terms of missing receivers. Yeah. Yes, Carson Wentz did that too. Carson Wentz did that all the time. Carson Wentz didn't throw a nice deep ball like Donovan McNabb did. But, I mean, are these things that can be fixed? I don't know. I think the one thing that can't be fixed is reading a defense. In my opinion, you either have it or you don't. That's just me.
Okay, I mean, I hear where you're coming from with all of that. I don't think that it's the fact that he can't read a defense. I think that coming into it's different at the NFL level. You see different things. There's different looks. It's not like the college game. College game is pretty much, always going to your first read. So he has to get better at going through his progressions. And the thing that he really needs to improve on is really not just accuracy, but anticipation. When you have a guy like Devontae Smith that's very good at getting separation, he's very good at getting open. He just finds ways to do it because he's a good route runner. You got to know that even if the guy's covered, he's not covered because this guy just has that ability to get open. So I don't think that he anticipates it the way that he should yet, but I think those are things that comes with time. And there's other quarterbacks in the league that struggled with that early in their career. Lamar Jackson, who Jalen gets compared to a lot because the offenses of the Ravens and our offense is similar. We run similar plays. So Lamar's doing pretty fine for himself. And Lamar improved a lot as a passer as time goes by because they built out around an offense around his skill set, and they didn't make it an offense where he has to throw 50 times. And as far as getting the running game shut down, that's true. That is going to happen sometimes. But I feel like our running game is on another level than a team like just last year. We're just talking about Carson Wentz against the Jaguars, Indianapolis Colts. Jonathan Taylor, he's going on a tear. There's MVP talk about him. He gets pretty much completely stopped. And they stop Jonathan Taylor, they stop the whole running game. If you stop one player on this team, if you stop Miles Sanders, guess what? You still got to deal with Jordan Howard. You still got to deal with Boston Scott. You still got to deal with Kenneth Gainwell. You got to still deal with Jalen Hurts, who did big things for this offense on the ground using his legs, getting 700 rushing yards, getting double-digit rushing touchdowns. So I don't think that it's a little different with us because we're stacked. We're stacked at that position. So I don't think that it's simple as just shutting down one guy and that's it. I feel like Jalen will get better as a passer. And when he does that and teams figure out that they can't just stack the box, yes, the offense is going to be open more. But I think what we saw with Jalen last year, the least that you can say is that he's earned another year to show if he's the guy or if he's not the guy. And then you could possibly consider, since you have 3 firsts, consider trading one of them. So you have another first next year. So if there's another quarterback that you really like and you don't love Jalen Hurts at that point, then you can do that. But I think that the constant running him out of town, Deshaun Watson, Baker Mayfield, any quarterback that gets brought up, they're just trying to run this guy out of town. They're just trying to close the book on him. And I hate that. I don't think that that's the way people should operate, but that's just my opinion.
Oh, I don't. Whoa, my dog just barked. Sorry, he's in trouble. So, it's because it's thundering out here. So I was never in favor. Like, look, if it's obvious to me that if the Eagles got Deshaun Watson, the quarterback position would be 100 times better. Like, in my personal opinion, in Jalen Hurts' dreams, he's not better than Deshaun Watson. But what is the outcome of that? What is, like,
there's a lot of stuff involved with it.
Exactly. What happened after the Eagles signed Michael Vick? A media circus. Imagine if we had done that today. Like, we'd be like, I remember being on the internet back then and people saying, "Oh, the Philadelphia Eagles are a bunch of dog killing, they're a bunch of dog killing lovers," and you just be like, "What?" Especially
looks like his internet went out. So
oh wait, am I back?
Okay, yeah, you're good now. Never mind.
Good. Okay, sorry. It's a lightning storm, but yeah. Okay, I see the internet thing, the Wi-Fi thing. So what was it? Lawrence Taylor had like a sexual encounter with an underage girl. So, like, we had those issues with Giants fans, but I wouldn't be in favor of it because it'd just be a PR nightmare. Baker Mayfield, I don't really think there's much of a difference between Baker Mayfield and Jalen Hurts. Sure, Baker Mayfield might be a better passer, but I mean, it is what it is. In the sense of like running a player out of town, I mean, if you feel like, if the fans feel like the person isn't going to be good, then I mean, I guess have at it, have at that opinion. But I don't think that the fans would have as much of a sway in that situation. With the head coach, it's a little bit different. But with the quarterback, I mean, Eagles fans, I guess maybe some of them did want to run Carson Wentz out of town, but I feel like with Jalen Hurts, he's not afraid of the fans. He's not afraid of any of that.
He's definitely not.
That is probably the one great quality with Jalen Hurts, is the fact that he always wants to get better. He's not afraid of anything. And I think he does know his limits, because there's a part of me that thinks that, sure, the coaching staff was like, hey, we're going to run the ball more. But I think Jalen Hurts also realized that I'm not as good of a passer as I think I am. So I'm going to be a team player. That is the one thing I do like about Jalen Hurts. He's a team player. And obviously, one could say that I was a part of trying to run Jalen Hurts out of town. I'm going to be honest here. When I watch Jalen Hurts play, or when I watch anyone play, I'm the biggest douchebag to some of these players, where I'm like, he's the worst player ever. Get him off the team. Start Gardner Minshew.
Yep.
I said that in front of the TV, but I try not to say that on social media. And obviously, you called me out on that when I said that he isn't an NFL quarterback.
Yep.
What I would say right now, as that was like a gut check thing, I said it. Obviously, I can't take it back.
Right.
But I would, if I were to bring that statement back again, I think that was after the loss to the Giants. I was very mad after that game. I was very embarrassed because we had no reason to lose that game, and we could have won that game, but
still almost won at the very end.
Yeah, we did. If it wasn't for Stone Hand Dropsies himself. But I mean, Jalen Hurts made more mistakes in that game than he's made in any game he's ever played in Philly. But I felt like if we had Russell Wilson last season, I think we would have had 11 to 12 wins, or not 11 to 12, 10 to 11 wins. If we had Aaron Rodgers, which we're not getting either of those guys, that's out of the way, we might have had 12 to 13 wins. Do I think we're a quarterback away from winning a Super Bowl? No. If we had to trade for one, no, absolutely not. But if we were able to sign one without giving away picks, yeah, I think we would be a quarterback away from winning a Super Bowl, or at least going to like the NFC Championship game. And I don't know. It's just with Jalen Hurts, he makes some really, really great plays. Obviously, he makes some clutch plays too. We came back against the Panthers, and Jalen Hurts was a part of that. He just flipped a switch. That Denver Broncos game, he had 2 really great touchdown passes to Devontae Smith. Awesome. Amazing. That Giants game, we came back in the second half and we rallied, right? He had 2 touchdown passes. Great. But like you said with the running game, how many games did Jordan Howard and Miles Sanders miss? They missed a lot of time. And our coaching staff didn't realize we had Jordan Howard on the team until much later. But I don't feel comfortable with us going into a game with Boston Scott. Are you?
No, I mean, not as the number one back, but that's not to say we can't bring in someone to replace one of those guys.
Yeah, but
I think Miles Sanders is in a contract year, I think that I wouldn't even be surprised if the Eagles drafted another running back in the late part of the draft.
Oh no, of course. But what would happen? Like, what happens if there's a situation where we're going into a game where our top 2 running backs are injured? We're going into a game with Kenneth Gainwell and Boston Scott. I wouldn't feel comfortable with that at all. Like, our top 2 running backs are injured, like what happened last year. I wouldn't feel comfortable with that. And that's where a quarterback, like an Aaron Rodgers, which we don't have, like a Tom Brady, which we don't have, would come into play. Now, you could say, look, there aren't very many of those guys in the league right now, right? So we have what we have, and we can't be upset about it. Well, we can't be upset about it, but it is what it is. My question to you is, like, do you feel like having a more limited quarterback like Jalen Hurts, like we're just going off of last season, right? Maybe
you're just going off of last season.
Maybe he turns things around. Okay, maybe he does. Maybe he develops like you think he will. Do you think that we would be able to be successful? Jalen Hurts would be able to put up 200 plus passing yards and 1 to 2 passing touchdowns and no interceptions and a win? Or do you think that he would struggle in that sense?
Here's what I'm going to say. Because before I answer that question, I just wanted to respond to something that you pointed out. Like when you're saying, oh, well, what if Boston Scott and Kenneth Gainwell are only running backs that we have going into the game? When you have a quarterback that has this dynamic ability, it takes less pressure, it takes less pressure. It takes more pressure off of those running backs. What if I told you the Baltimore Ravens, first, second, and third string running backs all got hurt and they were all ruled out for the season, within the first couple of weeks of the season? Guess what? Because they have a guy like Lamar that's able to make those type of plays, it wasn't that big of a deal. That's why they were bringing in, a bunch of has-beens. They were bringing in Le'Veon Bell. They were bringing in, Latavius Murray, Devontae Freeman, and they were still having success. So I feel like Jalen brings the same. I'm not saying he's as good as Lamar or as athletic or fast as Lamar. His running style is a little different. Lamar, he's quick, but Jalen has a lot of power. He can really dish it out. But I think that he's gonna improve his game. I think people just think it's just like I keep saying, it's a closed book on him. He's gonna work on his stuff. Let me say something about Carson Wentz, because I've been seeing some more Carson Wentz comments in the section over here. So here's the thing. Carson Wentz was never trying to improve his game, even though he was gifted and he was blessed with having a really strong arm. Quarterback mechanics is something that held him back. And I think that Jalen is not that type of guy that's complacent in that area. So I think that whatever he's weak at, he's going to put all the work in to show what he can do. Show that he can be better than what we saw in the Tampa Bay game. So I think the Tampa Bay game is something that's actually going to take him to a completely different level. When we look back at the end of this season, we might be having a conversation where we say, hey, wow, like, I can't even believe this is the same guy. And it's just because Jalen's relentless. He's relentless in that area. And I think that I think that's why he's built to be a Philadelphia Eagle. Not everyone is. Not everyone can handle playing in this city. Ben Simmons couldn't. A lot of guys can't. So,
no, he couldn't. He can't even play in Brooklyn.
So a lot of guys can't, but there's a few guys that can. And I think that Jalen's one of those guys. So I think he's going to rise to the challenge, and I think he's going to be a lot better than what anyone thinks he can be.
Do you think that I almost called him Jamar Jackson. Do you think Lamar Jackson is the ceiling for Jalen Hurts?
Yeah, I could see him being that type of player in time. I think that people need to give him a chance. And even if something happened, and I know that people have been saying the Eagles are not in with Deshaun Watson. If something happened and we woke up tomorrow and we traded for Deshaun Watson and Jalen Hurts went to Houston or whatever team he goes to, I think whatever team that's willing to work with him and help him to try to get better, because he's the guy that wants it. So if he wants it and all the people around him want it, I think he's going to get there. So even if it doesn't happen in Philadelphia, I still think that Jalen can develop into something if someone will give him a chance. Because you got to look at all these other young guys. Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson. A lot of these guys are rookies. Jalen was technically a second-year guy, but first year starting in the league. These guys are not looking too good, but no one is going to close the book on them. It's funny how that narrative doesn't happen for a lot of quarterbacks. It's just certain quarterbacks. And honestly, outside of Burrow and Herbert, you can't really tell me that someone's better than Jalen Hurts from that draft class. If you look back on it and you said Green Bay probably wouldn't have even taken a quarterback in that position if they knew what they know now. But if they were, then you could argue that they should have taken Jalen Hurts because Jalen's better than Jordan Love. So you know what? I think that it all really comes down to trying to put a label on a guy and say, this is what he is. This is what he's always going to be after one full season. Like, at least give him another full season. At least give him that before you say, this is what he is. That's all I'm trying to say.
What and I'll agree with that in the sense. Whoa. So I'll agree with that in the sense of you that Jalen Hurts is probably the third behind those two other guys just because of what he was able to do. What do you attribute? Because we're now talking about Lamar Jackson. What would you attribute to the success of Lamar Jackson? That makes you think that
because
Jalen Hurts can be the next
simple.
Lamar Jackson.
It's simple. I think Lamar and Jalen are very similar in this regard. When Lamar was first coming onto the Ravens, he pretty much got thrown in there. He caught fire, and then he ended up leading them to the playoffs. He played a playoff game against the Chargers where he looked atrocious. And halfway through the game, people were saying, oh, you got to go back to Flacco. And John Harbaugh, he didn't do it. He said, no, like, Lamar is the guy for us. We're going to keep him in here, and we're going to build on this going forward. And all the things people have said about Jalen, accuracy, can't be a good passer, he can't do this, his style isn't going to work in the NFL. He turned around and won a league MVP. Lamar and Jalen are similar because they both have a bunch of critics saying this is what they are. Oh, Lamar's a running back. That's what people said about him. Lamar can't throw. He can't do this. That's what they said about him. If you did a poll right now, asked a bunch of NFL GMs if Lamar was available, and Lamar's going to a contract year. Ravens have to extend him soon. If you ask a bunch of GMs if they wanted Lamar, if he's available, I guarantee you a bunch of them would say yes. And I think that Jalen can get there if people give him time. And we're just going to see a little bit of improvement here and there. Even if you're only showing a little bit of improvement goes a long way, and it adds up over the time. And then you eventually reach that level where you're like, wow, like, just took a little bit of a time, and now look where he's at. So I feel like Jalen has the mentality to get there. So I really think it's just a matter of time. And I think the stuff that people say about him is going to drive him to be better.
What if he doesn't improve? Like, what if next year we have the same guy? Do you think it was worth drafting him, though?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was, because even if he has like the same season, the same exact season that he did last year, he's proven that he's a starter in the NFL. Like, do you really think some of these teams, like, do you really think a team like Pittsburgh, really Mitch Trubisky, Sam Darnold with the Panthers, do you really think like these guys are starters in the league, but Jalen Hurts is not a starter? Like, he can start for an NFL team. There's no doubt about that. So for a second round pick, the reason why we took him in that position was based off of what happened in the playoff game against Seattle. They saw what happened. Carson Wentz first series gets hurt. Josh McCown, that's terrible. They saw Jalen Hurts sitting there and they said, hey, you know what? Carson keeps getting injured. Yes, he's on a contract or something, but let's say we get back into the playoffs. We don't want to just have an old Josh McCown that shouldn't even be playing right now. He's coaching. He was a big candidate for the Houston job, didn't get it, but this guy shouldn't be playing. So that told the Eagles, hey, we can grab a guy, develop him behind Carson, and if we ever get in that situation, we got a young guy, and we don't have to worry about overpaying backup quarterbacks, paying Joe Flacco. What we paid Joe Flacco was in a ridiculous amount of money to be our backup quarterback, just to get rid of him later in the season and go get Gardner Minshew. So you know what? You got to understand the thought process, and I definitely don't think it was a waste of a pick. Absolutely not.
Do you think? And I'm continuing to have you talk because I'm stalling, of course. Do you think that Gardner Minshew could be better than Jalen Hurts?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. There's no way he could be as good as Jalen Hurts. Or better than Jalen Hurts.
Do you think he could be just as good as him, though?
I mean, probably. I mean, I think that he could be I also think he could be a starter on an NFL team. But if you're trying to tell me right now that Gardner Minshew is better than Jalen Hurts, I totally disagree with that. There is no way, because what Jalen Hurts, everything is focused on passing. Because Minshew's like a pass-first quarterback, he's automatically the better player when he's clearly not. You can't just, like, a lot of people want to just dismiss Jalen Hurts' athletic ability. Like, that wasn't a huge part of our offense. And Jalen still passed for 3,000 yards. You mentioned the 5 touchdowns that got wiped out.
Yeah, 5.
Easily could have had 20 plus TDs.
I feel like
passing.
I feel like some of those. Here's the thing. I feel like some of those touchdowns like could have counted, and some of them were definitely pass interference. But you also have to remember 2 of them were also wiped out because of player out of bounds too. But the way I see it, right? I actually wouldn't say that Jalen Hurts is better than Gardner Minshew, but I also wouldn't say that Gardner Minshew is better than Jalen Hurts just because of like a small sample size, right? Gardner Minshew beats the Jets. The Jets aren't good, okay? You and I both can agree that the Jets are not a good team. They're like a 4 or 5 win team, won some pretty good games, but ultimately not ready for prime time, right? But at the same time, if you look at the teams that Jalen Hurts beat outside of Denver, maybe, what's the difference between those wins compared to that win against the Jets? Because I'll tell you something, right? Gardner Minshew played decently, right? He had 2 really good touchdown passes. The one thing that I felt like was missing from Jalen Hurts' game was the fact that he threw a few deep touchdown passes, but he also missed a lot of deep touchdown passes, right? And you even had some Buccaneers player was like, he can't read, and he was like gloating about that. I feel like I'm not saying you're selling me, okay? Because I already have my opinion, and unlike Steven Crowder says, changed my mind. I'm coming in this with like an open mind, right? I feel like if he can change, let me show this comment. I feel like if he can change and he can learn how to read a defense, then he can be successful. But the problem is that you're predicting ahead of time. You're predicting things ahead of time. Let me ask you probably a final question, because I've been picking at your mind. What if Jalen Hurts was let's say Jalen Hurts was never drafted by the Eagles. Never drafted by the Eagles, right? We still have Carson Wentz, or we might have someone else, right? If he was the quarterback of another team like Dallas or Washington football team or the Giants, and he had shown that first season, that stretch of 4 games in 2020, and he had shown what he showed right now, would you think that he would be any better than a mediocre quarterback? Because my opinion, I feel like most Eagles fans who like Jalen Hurts right now would be chewing him out and would be making fun of him, much like we make fun of a Daniel Jones or like a Dwayne Haskins or something like that. Or heck, we made fun of Tony Romo for years, and that dude had our number. You know what I'm saying?
I still think Jalen would be. I don't necessarily agree with that, because I don't always hate on players. If a player stinks, they stink. But I don't think Jalen Hurts stinks. And yeah, I mean, I think that it would be harder for me to root for him if he was on a team in our division. But everything's according to the situation. Like, because if he wasn't drafted to the Eagles, he would have. There's a lot of variables involved with it, because he was in a certain situation with a quarterback that was already paid, that played poorly the whole season until the very end when Jalen actually got to play. So is he starting from day one on Washington? Is he starting from day one on the Giants or one of these other teams?
No.
I don't know.
He's starting. The same situation happened. So the same situation that happened here happened there. What is your like? What,
the other thing is, what are his weapons around him? If he's playing in Dallas and he has CeeDee Lamb, who has very good chemistry with Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, Yeah, I think Jalen would do fine with them. If he's in a team like the New York Giants that are pretty much an abysmal team that paid millions of dollars in their defense, bad offensive line, no good wide receivers. They overpaid Kenny Golladay to basically have less touchdowns than offensive linemen. Then yeah, I think he would probably struggle a little bit more. But yeah, everything's according to the situation. I think he would still be a decent quarterback, even if he was on one of those teams.
What do you? This has just become a Q&A. I don't know what happened. I think Philly Jim is a good debater.
I am. I get that a lot, actually.
Vote for this guy right here. So what do you think this team needs to do moving forward?
What do I think they need to do?
Jalen Hurts better. Yeah. To make Jalen Hurts better.
To make Jalen Hurts better, what I think is crucial for his development is you got to move on from Jalen Reagor. He has to go. That's the most important thing. Because even if you watch how bad Jalen Hurts was in that game, you got to see like some of the looks these defenses are giving us. Okay? So there was a play in that game. It was 3 verts. Or it was 2 verts. It was
what game again?
The playoff game.
Okay.
So Devontae Smith's going deep, Quez is going deep. And then they basically got doubled and taken out because they had safety help over the top. So that leaves the only guy you have one-on-one, Jalen Reagor. And he gets absolutely manhandled. He gets thrown to the ground like it's nothing at the line of scrimmage. It looks like he's not even. It's one thing to not be good and just you're not a good player. That's okay, but this guy was literally not trying to get open. He was just standing there and let himself just get thrown around like he's nothing. So I think Quez, as good of a season that he had, I think a lot of fans are kind of putting him above where he should be. I think Quez is better off. The best situation for him is to be that third guy. Devontae Smith is clearly your first guy, but you got to get a guy that's above average. Not elite or great or anything, but just a guy that can make catches, get open. You can depend on him. If someone double teams Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, you got another guy that's really dependable. When it was Deshaun Jackson, there was Jeremy Maclin here. There was also Jason Avant, who is really reliable at times. So we don't really have that. We don't really have that on this team. Another guy that's reliable on that other side. And I think that's what needs to happen. It doesn't look like the Eagles are going to do that in free agency because most of the wide receivers are pretty much off the board now as far as the top ones. But I definitely think if you like a guy in the draft, then you should definitely add another wide receiver. I think that Jalen Reagor is actually a huge problem that could get in the way of Jalen Hurts developing and coming into his own.
Okay. I hear what you're saying. Yeah, that's another situation where, I can't really come out and say like, oh, Jalen Reagor's like sucky because I was one of the biggest Jalen Reagor fans because I watched him play in college and was like, this guy's great. I did want Jefferson though. I did want Jefferson as the number one guy. The way I see it is that especially some of like the misses that Jalen Hurts had, especially like we remember the miss pass to Quez Walker. he had three missed touchdowns to Quez Watkins. I felt like that would have allowed he would have had 3 more touchdowns. Now, you remember the play against Tampa where Quez Watkins was like they showed Aikman and Buck showed him wide open, and he instead threw it to Reagor. That's kind of like what I'm talking about in that sense. I feel like he does have like happy feet. I feel like he needs to fix that. And look, I'm riding under the whole process that I think he will be the quarterback next year, and I said that off the bat. It's just hard for me to believe that it's going to actually happen because of what I saw last year. Now, again, last year won't happen this year. Probably won't happen this year because it'll be different. Either he'll be better, I feel like, or he'll be worse. But understand, and I know that you kind of like alluded to the fact of like, oh, Eagles fans just want to run him out of town. I want you to understand that we care. Understand that Jalen Hurts being the quarterback of the future is the best thing for the team. I think we can both agree on that. That him being the quarterback for the future is the best thing for the team because, number one, he'll be cheap for 2 more years, right? We're not paying Jalen Hurts anything. Nothing. We can both agree on that, right? Number 2, we can use that money for other players if he happens to be a good player. It's just it's difficult for me to conceptualize that happening at this point. I need to see more. Now, I can't speak for these other Eagles fans, but we are rooting for him. I might be in front of every time he makes a mistake, I might be like, "You suck, you're the worst. I hope we cut you right now."
No, here's the thing. Here's the thing that I want to get to, that basically what you said. So, as far as with being the best thing for the future, completely agree with that. When a rookie quarterback, or any rookie actually, gets drafted, it's typically a 4-year contract. Sometimes 5th-year option gets picked up if it's a really, really good player. Okay, that happens. But all in all, these guys are pretty much still given at least like the minimum of the 4 years to prove what they are. Yet, Jalen is in his 2nd year, or his 3rd year in the league, but his 2nd year starting, and people are not giving him a chance. You're not even giving the guy, I'm not saying you personally, but the consensus, all the things that I've been able to gather, this is what Jalen Hurts is. This is who Jalen Hurts is. He can't read. He can't throw. He can't do all this other stuff. Yet, other players, besides just Carson Wentz, has come through here, and they're not keeping the same energy. And the one biggest thing that I can't stand is when people show they're a hypocrite. And I also think Eagles fans are hypocrites because I've seen today, I'm not gonna say any names, outrage about Fletcher Cox when these same people were saying, "Oh, he needs to get traded. He needs to get out of here. He's not getting any sacks." We have a very hypocritical fan base. It's obvious.
I will say that
that's all I got to say about that.
I am unfair to Jalen Hurts, and here's why. The reason why, and I'll say this, and you can respond, and then this whole shebang will be over. The reason why is because Carson Wentz was brought to the Philadelphia Eagles with the intent to be the starting quarterback moving forward. It was the same with McNabb, right? I feel like
saying Hurts was not brought to be the starter.
No, I personally believe that in this, And I might look like a Carson Wentz stan, and if I do, there might be some truth to that. But if you're drafted first round, right, it is my personal opinion that you are expected to be looked at as the number one guy. And I understand that there are guys out there who've been drafted first overall and they've been like kick rocks at the end of the season. I mean, Josh Rosen is a really good example of that. But it is my opinion, you should put at least 3 full seasons, and Jordan Love too, whatever. 3 full seasons into making sure that guy is the guy. I personally don't feel like Jalen Hurts was brought in to be the starting quarterback. I feel like he was brought in to be the backup. But here's where he was
brought in to be the backup plan in case Carson Wentz had another injury.
Well, yeah, but like in a playoff game or like in like a regular season game. But the thing is, that's not what you do with first and second round draft picks. First and second round draft picks are players that are supposed to be looked at for the future. And even
so, are you saying if we never drafted Jalen Hurts, Carson Wentz would still be here and everything would be fine?
I don't know if everything would be fine, but he would still be here last season.
Even if he had a bad season like he did in 2020?
No, that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. He would have been here after, like, if he played poorly, I don't think he would be here 2022. I think we would be drafting someone else, whether that's a good thing or bad thing with this draft. But what I am saying is that when like a player like Jalen Hurts, who you're not expecting to be the future, I feel like fans are going to give them less of a chance. Look at Nick Foles, right? Third round, picked at the exact same situation.
But Foles also got screwed over. That was not his fault.
It wasn't, but it's not Jalen Hurts' fault either. Jalen Hurts is a victim of circumstance, just like Nick Foles was, in the sense of forced to replace a popular player, right? Carson Wentz was popular. Michael Vick was popular. Both of those guys had horrendous seasons at a certain standpoint. But the way I see it, Nick Foles, despite the fact that he had 27 touchdowns and 2 interceptions, and you can call me a hypocrite on this line because I was a huge Foles fan, but I'm a fan of Jalen Hurts in the sense of I want him to succeed, but I don't believe that he ultimately will succeed long term. I could be wrong. But if you look at it, most Eagles fans after 2014, where he didn't follow through with, like, the team won a lot of games, but his stats weren't good. Eagles fans were easily able to want him replaced with Sam Bradford.
Those Eagles fans did not know what they're talking about.
But the thing is, I think when we talk about second rounders being a guy who you would look at to be a possible future, I think Jalen Hurts was a reach. I think he should have been a third, maybe a fourth round selection, which is why I think he's on such a short rope. And I also think with Philly fans, man, I got so frustrated with a lot of things that he did. Maybe my criticism was not constructive.
Talking about things that Jalen did?
Huh?
Talking about things that Jalen did?
Yes. Like that
other
Giants
than
game.
On the field?
Like that Giants game. I was ready to strangle that dude after the Giants game. I would say after Yeah, it's just like this dude takes so long to start. Like that Buccaneers game took like for a long time during that game, he didn't even have 100 passing yards. And yeah, the Buccaneers are a good defense, but they weren't a good passing. They didn't have good corners. It was just that frustration that was just eating me up. And last thing about Carson Wentz, and I posted this on Twitter. I did not trust Carson Wentz. Whenever he took the snap, I took a deep breath. I didn't feel that way about Nick Foles, not once. So maybe it's just your guy, maybe Jalen Hurts is your horse, right? We talk about Cup Hizzle sometimes. Eli Manning is his horse. Jalen Hurts is just your horse, and it's someone who you believe in. I believed in Nick Foles, right? Took a shot in the dark on Nick Foles, and I believed in him. And I'll have you respond to that, and we'll end it there.
I mean, I wouldn't disagree with it. I believe in Jalen Hurts. I had the same reaction of other people to the Jalen Hurts pick. I said, yeah, I was just confused by it since we had just paid Carson, I believe, like a year before that. I think it was the previous offseason that we paid him. But I just knew that Jalen had the mentality to succeed. And when I saw the way they were using him as a gadget player, I thought it was completely disrespectful how they were using him. And I knew that the way Carson was playing, like this guy deserves to play. Put him in the game. And when I saw him spark the team, how they rallied around him, that just told me this guy has everything Carson Wentz does not have up here and in here. And that's what I loved about him. So, and that's what I still love about him. So that's why I don't think it's a closed book. I think he's gonna get better. I mean, even if you followed his college career, this guy was on the verge of getting drafted. This guy was gonna not get drafted. He's gonna go undrafted because the embarrassment that he put on in the championship game, getting benched at halftime. Yet he comes back from that and he rebounds from that. He comes back when they needed him in the conference championship game. Tua gets hurt. Jalen rallies the team. Then he transfers. He had to wait the whole season to get his chance. Transfers. Has a Heisman caliber season with Oklahoma in a different offense where he tremendously improved as a passer. So we've seen Jalen take steps towards improvement. And I think he's going to get there. And I might be one of the people that believes he does. But I do. I believe in Jalen Hurts.
Okay. And that's totally fair. So for anybody watching this stream, we're cutting it close to the 1 hour mark. It's called the Power Hour, not the Power Hour in 10 minutes, 20 minutes, or 20 seconds. I want you to either write in the chat or write in the comment section. Who do you think won this debate and why? Right? Do you think this debate was won by this guy right here? Are you serious? This Titan of industries? Or do you think that it was won by this snowball thrower wearing this vest right here and these silly blue earphones? So Jim, it was real having you on. I think
Appreciate
this was awesome. I think that we had a good conversation here, and I think that more constructive conversations can be had like this, so that we don't lose friendships online. So first and foremost, and Jim will like this, go Jalen Hurts, be the starter of this football team, win games. I don't believe you're going to do it, but prove me wrong. And it's not like I'm going to be going out and wearing Jalen Hurts jerseys. Unless I win a bet, I'm not going to wear a Jalen Hurts jersey because I don't believe in bashing a player and then strutting his stuff when he does well. Okay, but you will also not see me root against him ever. You will see me yell at him on the TV. I will heckle him on TV, but I will not be happy if and when he goes, and I will be happy for him if he does well, but I'm not going to be like, I told you so. I told you, Jim, he was going to be good. Because Jim is just going to show a bunch of comments about how I said he wasn't.
Not an NFL quarterback.
He's going to show this stream. All right. It was real. Anything you want to add to sign off with, Jim?
I just want to say it's never personal. I know that sometimes if you're on Twitter or other places on social media reading stuff and having a debate, sometimes you can't really tell how a person's coming across. But it's for me, anything debating, sports, anything in life, it's never personal for me. So I'm glad that we just had a great adult conversation, and it was fantastic being on here, man. I really enjoyed the debate.
Cool. And that's why I never go past I never go on my timeline on anything. You just see stuff that you don't want to see. All right, logging off, everybody. Peace.